Hello, hello. This is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and you are watching or listening to an episode of the Rebound Coach Live. I am so glad that you're here today. If you are watching the replay, go ahead and type in chat replay. If you're popping in here live, just type in the chat. Let me know your name so I can say hello. I'm so glad you're here. Today is a pretty deep topic. I'll tell you, it started out in one direction and here we are in a different one. And it's called, Are You Living in Emotional Debt? Okay. And you might be like, what in the world is emotional debt? Hey, by the way, you said you were a rebound coach. What in the world is that? So, if it's your first time sharing virtual space with me, welcome. Hello. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for sharing this little corner of the internet with me this evening. Again, my name is Dallas Cohen, and I go by the Rebound Coach. A rebound coach is a life coach. I'm a life coach that helps people get unstuck. I have the particular honor of serving high achieving women of faith who live through betrayal, trauma, or abuse and want to reclaim territory in their relationship with themselves. And I got into that because of my own story of betrayal, trauma, and abuse. To make a long story pretty short, because we got a lot to talk about today, I was married for 10 years to a man who wanted me dead and almost had the chance to try out something that didn't make sense for somebody like me. You know, I was grew up in a good Christian home. I had Christian parents. They loved God. They loved each other. They were married for a lifetime. My father was even my mother's caretaker. So I saw a caring love, a giving love, a beautiful love that they showed me and they showed each other. And so they were a great example of marriage. At the same time, I was molested from the time I was 8 to the time I was 16. And if you don't have to be, a child psychologist to understand that changes how you see yourself, how you see God, and for me, how I related to men. So fast forward, I met the man that I married and eventually divorced. There were tons of red flags. So it wasn't like I didn't know that there was risk. At the same time, I'm a praying woman. I believed God said yes. And because of that, I believed that whatever would come, we'd overcome it. We'd outlast it. God would swoop in and save the day and make everything okay. And he did do those things, just not in the way I anticipated. So we got into a cycle of what I call coping and crisis. So we would be, never quite got to happy or satisfied or okay, just in this pattern of I'm doing this dance around you. We're very careful. I'm very, it's tenuous. It's dramatic and traumatic, and after that dance for a while, then there's some big crisis. There's some big blow up that just upsets everything, and we have to get back to this careful dance again. Well, we did that for many years, and things kind of came to a head end of 2019, beginning of 2020. He left for another woman, and the day or two after he left, I found out him and that woman had been plotting my murder for months by the time I found out. And so if you can imagine, that's a pretty scary thing to find out. And that it's not a movie plot, it's an actual real thing that's happening to you. And so it's kind of a record scratch moment. And I was, threatened as a mom, as a wife, as a woman, as a child of God, just a human being. And as a coach, I had been coaching family, not like family dynamics, but really relationship coaching. I'd been coaching people in difficult marriages to stay in their marriage and to save their marriage for 5 or 6 years by then. And so if you can imagine building an identity, building a platform, building a message on one particular idea, and that being the very thing that falls apart, that's where I was. And I had a choice, ultimately. I could allow the identity that my ex-husband had planned for me and the one I agreed to tell me who I was allowed to be for the rest of my life. They tell me what I was allowed to believe, how I was allowed to express my beliefs, how many days I had left on the planet, or I could choose life. And so, through a dramatic series of events and very divine series of events, God rescued me and my children, and we live safe, we live well, we live continuing to grow and heal and unlearn and relearn and all the things. And I wrote a book about it. It's called I Choose Life, because I had the choice between death and life, and I chose life. The subtitle is Rewrite Your Love Story and Change Your Legacy. And it is a life map for those that are surviving, that have survived, or that love someone who is surviving betrayal, trauma, or abuse. And while we call this domestic violence, I don't specify just domestic violence, because it's bigger than that umbrella title, going down to the bottom: betrayal, trauma, or abuse. This is how it's to help you, number one, not feel alone. Number two, help to understand where these things might have come from, what positioned you to get that kind of treatment, and what steps you might be able to take to move yourself forward or to support a friend that you love. So you can find this at thereboundcoach.com/book, thereboundcoach.com/book. You can get one of these paper copies and I will sign it and send it off to you in the mail, or you can get an ebook or a physical book from Amazon. So go check it out, thereboundcoach.com/book, and pick up I Choose Life. Okay. So we're doing some interesting things in the month of May. I want to give you a little bit of a preview. Later on in the month, I will be hosting a Zoom, so like a open conversation. And I want to talk about some things that are really important and things that are current. So I don't know if any of you are following the story of Steven Crowder. He is a conservative radio show host, and he's in a nasty divorce right now because of abuse. And so I'm not going to talk about that now, because that would defeat the purpose of later. But I think it's an important conversation to talk about systemic abuse and the attitudes and the dogma and the religiosity that sets the stage for abuse to happen and to thrive. And unfortunately, I believe it's a collective. So we often like to say, when there's abusive people, we also often like to say, well, not everybody, and that guy's just crazy. In situations like I experienced, there was mental illness for sure, but that's not every case. But often enough, it's easy to say, oh, that person was just dealing with, those issues, or, that person just had an alcohol problem, or that person. So we individualize it, but there's a system that keeps this alive. There's a system of ideas. There is, collective groups of people that behave in a way that sets this up. And so I think it's an important conversation to have, and we're going to have it. And you're invited to be a part of the conversation. It will be streamed live, but it will also be a Zoom call. So I'm inviting people to the conversation to have a back and forth, because I think it's really important that we talk about it. That will be on May 25th. So keep your eye out. Stay posted on the Facebook page, facebook.com/thereboundcoach. Keep your eyes peeled. I will be sending information on how to join the Zoom call and join that really important conversation that I think will be healing for all of us. So, okay, today's topic. Are you living in emotional debt? And you're like, what? It's easy for us to understand, financial debt, right? I bought something that I didn't have money for. I bought it with somebody else's money, and now I owe them that money plus interest, right? And if I do that a lot and I owe more than I can pay, I'm living in debt, right? And debt can be very crippling. Debt destroys marriages and families and is a source of pain and stress for a lot of people, right? Financial debt. And while that's easy to understand, I think emotional debt, spiritual debt, moral debt is less black and white crystal clear. It's a little fuzzy, not quite sure how to place it. So I want to talk about this today, not just what it is, but what to do about it. Okay. So signs of emotional debt. All right. If you were always tired, now check it. Check it. We live in a really fast-paced society. We live in a society that honors busyness and romanticizes overworking, right? The grind. And, we use busy as a sign of importance. I'm important because I'm busy and I'm in demand and people are expecting things of me, right? Okay. Even though we're in that society, there's an inner cause that motivates us to be overscheduled and unproductive. Okay, so this is not just we're doing a lot of things, but we're doing a lot of things that are not moving us toward the goals we say we have, right? It's moving us toward the goal of looking important, of feeling important, but not actually doing anything important, right? Okay, so being always tired, being burnt out, having insatiable love hungers. What is a love hunger? Love hunger are things that we do when we're looking for love or peace, right? These are things that don't lead us to those things, but we get hungry for them when we want peace, when we want satiation, when we want satisfaction, right? These are things like food, like sex, like work, right? So some people work, the accomplishment is the dopamine. Some people do the social media scroll for the dopamine. I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. So we reach for the stuff that helps us momentarily feel good, and then it doesn't lead us to good. Okay. So all of these, and I'm sure there's several more, but that's enough for the sake of this discussion, are signs of emotional debt. And what do we know about debt? Any kind. Debt is an enslavement, right? The borrower is slave to the lender. That's what it was. I was trying to remember that. Emotional or spiritual debt. So I want you to have your hats on, thinking about emotional debt, thinking about spiritual debt. Okay. So they are also enslavements, right? But it's the enslavement that we place ourselves in. The same with financial debt, right? No one forced us to take out a loan, but we did it, right? Sometimes people take out loans for education, or they take out loans for a car, they take out loans for a house. And, in America, at least, we're told this is normal stuff. Like you have to go to college. You're not going to be able to pay for college. So you have to take out a loan, right? You need to live somewhere. You can't afford to pay it all at once. You have to take out a loan. You got to drive something. You can't afford this big car. You're going to have to take out a loan, right? So no one actually makes us do it, but it's an expectation. And so people do it. Okay. Emotional debt and spiritual debt is also an enslavement that we place ourselves into. How does that work? Okay. So feeling like you owe something to yourself to be worthy, right? Whatever that is, or to be free. So I heard someone recently say, people are always telling me I'm such a good leader, that I'm so excellent and I'm capable and all these good things. They see something in me I don't see, right? That's what this person said. That is an example of emotional debt, right? All the feedback in my world says I'm pretty awesome, but I don't see myself as pretty awesome. That's a choice, right? It's a choice. How we see ourselves is a choice. Okay, I have no idea what happened. I was trying to do you notice I haven't been on Clubhouse recently in a few weeks because the system has changed and I'm not sure how it works anymore. So I was trying something and I don't think I was successful at it. So once I figure out how the Clubhouse thing goes, I will again be inviting you to an after chat because they were fun. I just don't know the new system. So thanks for your patience with that. Okay. So feeling like you owe something before you can be worthy or before you can be free, right? Like work or accomplishments, or, I need to be skinny before I'm good. I need to be wealthy before I'm good. I need to have X number of degrees before I'm good, right? And how do you know if you have something like that? So if you can finish a sentence, my life would be perfect if, and fill in the blank. If I had $1 million, right? That's what people say. Some. Okay. My life would be perfect if. And even in the money example, it's not the money. Money is a means to an end. What's the end? Right? What do you want money for? If you're wanting money for power, okay, so let's substitute. My life would be perfect if I had power. My life would be perfect if I had security. My life would be perfect if I had whatever, right? So same thing. So go past your immediate answer, go below it to see what means to the end. What's the end you're trying to get? My life would be perfect if I was married. Okay, what's that mean? Are you looking for security in marriage? Are you looking for companionship in marriage? Are you looking for being completed? Are you looking for sex? What are you looking for when you say my life would be perfect if I was married? For married people, my life would be perfect if I was single. What are you looking for in the singleness? Looking for freedom, looking for autonomy. I'm looking for what are you looking for, right? You're looking for this other person. That's a whole different conversation. Okay, so whole different conversation. So think about what that fill in the blank is for you, and that tells you what you're waiting to be free for, right? I owe this, and then I can be free, happy, satisfied, right? So sometimes, and people say, okay, money, or my life would be good if I had this accomplishment, and it's something that they can go do, right? But sometimes people make themselves ever a debtor. Okay, they make themselves an emotional debtor because their whatever it is something that they can't do or they feel like they have no control over. So you're holding yourself captive to other people's labels, right? My life would be perfect if I wasn't Black, right? Like, wait a minute, that's something you can't change. So you're ever a debtor to something you can't change. If we can't change our skin color and we're saying, I'm not going to be happy, satisfied, peaceful, I'm not going to receive joy, I'm not going to say I'm okay, it's not going to be all right unless I can change my skin color. And then you can't, right? So that means you're ever a debtor. Okay. So the same thing for any of the labels and the labels that we get in childhood, right? You're ugly, you're fat, your skin color, or maybe you're poor, whatever it is, right? These things that are seemingly unchangeable. I can't change my skin color, right? If I have certain facial features or body features, unless I have surgery, they're probably not going away, right? But if I hold myself captive to those labels, I'm not going to be free unless my appearance changes. I'm not going to be free unless, I'm tall or I'm short or I'm fat or I'm skinny or I'm married or I'm unmarried, right? When we do that with childhood labels and stories, we make ourselves ever a debtor. I'm never going to be free because I can't change those things about me, okay? You hold yourself ransom before you allow yourself to feel happy, to feel complete, whole, loved, or safe. Okay. And you can do the same. And if you're like, I'm not sure if this is, if this applies to me, It's the same thing. It's the same sentence. So instead of my life would be perfect if, you can say, I will feel loved when. And that's an important I will. So you're looking for the part you feel is missing. I will feel loved when, fill in the blank. I will feel safe when, fill in the blank. Okay? Those are deep questions. And I challenge you to really sit with them for a few minutes and journal your answers. Okay? When I will feel loved when, I will feel safe when, I will feel at peace when. Okay? So fill in those blanks. So here's the beautiful thing. Here's the good news, y'all. We get a choice. We actually get a choice. And we can choose a different report to believe. We can choose that I don't need those things to bring me what I'm hoping that they bring me, right? Peace and joy and fulfillment and safety and love, right? I need those. I need them. But I also don't need the means that I think that I don't have, right? Whatever it is I don't have that I think I need to get to them, I don't need that middle piece. You don't need money to feel safe, secure, provided for, free, powerful, influential. You don't need money to feel those things because they are feelings. Guess who's in control of your feelings? You are. You're in control of your feelings. No matter what's going on, you can choose to feel however you would like to choose to feel. Okay. So you can believe a different report. You can write the report and then choose to believe it. Look at that. If any of you read the Bible, you know there's plenty of positive things in the Bible for you to believe that are true. And you can hold on to the truth, and the truth will make you free. That's the promise of God. It's exciting. So you're already free. How do I apply this? How do I train my belief? Okay, how do I train my belief? Well, faith or belief comes by hearing, and hearing words. So you can hear words that help you believe something new. How do you do that? Well, guess who chooses what you hear? You do. So you can choose to hear things that you want to believe. Things that believing those things will help you get to where you want to be. A different means to the same end, right? A lasting means. It's not as exciting as I'm going to go eat this food, or I'm going to go do this work, or I'm going to go scroll my scroll, and that's going to get me where I want to go. We know it doesn't, right? It's real momentary, if anything. But the longer term, I'm going to choose to believe that I am already free, whole, healed, joyful, peaceful, loved, and safe, right? I can already reach those things. I can already reach them. I'm already free enough to reach them, right? Using words, using affirmations, using positive messages like this live tonight, listening to positive things, ebooks and studies and podcasts and things that feed your soul what your soul needs. Okay. So that's how to get out. Okay. And I gave you practical. So affirmations is the practical step. It is simple. It's not necessarily easy especially depending on how long you've been training yourself in the other direction, right? We know this, not rocket science, but important. Okay. So the emotional debt, wanted to cover that. There is, however, a debt that is truly a debt and that we don't pay attention to. And when we're not aware, we certainly can't do anything about it, right? And because of that, there's so many limits that we have that we don't even know why we're limited. And you might be doing all the stuff, like, I'm doing all the work, I'm running, I'm being busy, and I'm doing my best to be productive, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why am I not progressing, right? There might be something behind that. And I want to talk about spiritual debt for a minute. Okay. There is such a thing as spiritual debt. What does that mean? um, I believe that God is owed. He creates us. He creates us with visions and desires. He creates us with passions and purposes. He creates us with purpose, with destiny, with things that we are supposed to accomplish here on the earth, contributions we're supposed to make, connections we're supposed to make, people we are meant to influence, people we're meant to do life with, people we are meant to have seasonal interaction with. And we also, even we have purpose, we also have choice. And so we can choose, and often we do in this country. I can't speak for other cultures, other countries. I can speak for America. This is where I live and what I understand. We can choose this, not even survival, this lackadaisical, apathetic kind of maintenance mode, where I just want my easy chair. I want my takeout food, and I want, vacations, and that's it. I just want to go to the beach and sip on my drink and watch the days go by, right? And I'm not saying like don't relax or have fun, because of course that's important. It's very important, self-care, right? But not to the detriment of purpose, and not to the detriment of passion. It's easy to fall into the trap of apathy and mediocrity, and just, I'm just gonna work my 40 hours. I'm just gonna, watch my television shows and eat my whatever I like to eat and play on the weekends and go back to work, and I'm just gonna do the bare minimum and I'm just gonna get through it, right? That happens a lot. But there's a reason, guys. There's a reason we're here. There's a reason you're alive now. There's a reason I'm alive now. Somebody called me a miracle child recently, and it wasn't the first time. When my mom was pregnant with me, the doctors told her to abort because bad things were going to happen if I was born. And those things didn't happen, but it was an attempt on my life, right? Later on, other things happened that were an attempt on my life. At the beginning of this live, I told you a story, a true one, about my ex-husband who had an attempt on my life. Like there's been throughout my years, God has kept me. And there's a reason. It's not just because like, hey, it's a cool story. No, there's a reason I'm here now. There's a reason I'm here now. There's a reason you're here now. Part of my reason here now is to do this so that you hear this message right now. However you're listening to this, wherever you're listening or watching, there's a reason. There's a reason that you stumbled upon this message. There's a reason you happen to be listening 28 minutes into the broadcast. There's a reason. Okay? What are you here for? What are you here to do? What do you owe your creator? And that's how I felt. That's how I felt. I'm here for a reason. What do I owe the creator? What do I owe him? What should I be doing that I'm not doing? Okay. What do you owe God in your field of assignment? The thing for you to do. And there's stuff for all of us. The thing for you to do. What do you owe in your field of assignment? What will happen if you don't do it? What'll happen if you just, work your work and eat your popcorn and go to your sports games and ride off into the sunset? What will happen? Who won't be helped? What won't be invented? What children won't be raised? If you decide not to. And I will tell you this too, we can chase those love hungers for the rest of our days, live little momentary pleasures and spend our years doing that. We can. And even in that mediocrity, there's something in us. There's a hunger, there's a burning, there's a desire that doesn't go away until you're walking out your purpose. It won't go away. Like, whatever's in you is in you. And it will always be a desire. Sometimes it's a longing, and we put all sorts of justifications in front of it. I wish I could do that. It's just blah 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 blah. That would be nice, but da, 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 right? Whatever you put in front of it, but it won't go away. And you'll always be wishing, and you'll always be longing, and you'll always have a part of you that's frustrated because you didn't take the chance. Okay. Have you been, and this is my final think about it question, have you been lax in your obedience? And when I say obedience to God, obedience to your call, your purpose in life. Have you been lax in that in exchange for comfort and maintenance? Comfort is, there's nothing hard going on today. I can sleep in. I can, waste time. I don't have to push. I deserve some rest, right? Comfort, maintenance. I just need to keep these bills paid. That's all I need to do. I just need to keep my head above water. That's all I need to do. Are there seasons for that? Yes. Should that be your lifetime? No, because God gave something powerful to all of us, and we don't get it being comfortable. It's never in being comfortable. It's always outside of the comfort zone. So there has to come a time where we say, you know what? This is get it together time. This is push time. This is go time. This is go through time. This is make it happen time. And I think a lot of people come to a realization in midlife, whatever that is for you. Sometimes people call 40s midlife. I've even heard of 30s midlife. I don't understand, but okay. Some people 50s, like, oh man, I'm running out of time and I haven't gotten to that place I said I was going to get. Why? Why does that happen to so many of us? Because we spend the time maintaining or being comfortable or not paying attention, and the clock is still ticking. And at some point we're like, oh my gosh, I am however many years old and I haven't done this. I haven't done that. And then we still have to make a decision again. Am I going to push and go make that happen, or I'm going to make an excuse and sit back and do what I'm comfortable doing? Like, oh, it's too late for me. Right? That's I'm going to be lazy and comfortable. Right? Okay. So what do you do about this? What do you do about this? Hey, Dallas, I realize that I am not doing the things I want to do with my life. I'm not living in the purpose that I know I am meant for, that I know I've been born for, that I know I'm created to make a difference, and I haven't been. What do I do about it? I am leading a virtual group coaching experience called Reclaim. And it is all about reclaiming territory in your relationship with yourself. It is all about taking back your power. It is all about inch by inch going back and reclaiming things that were stolen with other people's labels, with the stories you told yourselves, with betrayal, with trauma, with abuse. All of that was left on the wayside as we had to survive. So we let that territory go so we could limp along the road of life. But we left pieces behind, going back and reclaiming that and taking territory. Okay, and restoring and reclaiming. Reclaim. Okay, so I did a pilot experience over the month of April with several women, and I want to share a testimony from one of the ladies that experienced Reclaim, the group coaching program. She said, walls that were closing in around me were falling down and she said, I became more courageous and more curious about what God wants for my life. I had a deeper sense about what I need to do next. Okay, so she got clarity and direction for her life vocationally. And vocationally doesn't always mean a job or like a career, but sometimes what you're meant to do spiritually, what you're meant to do in life. She connected and reconnected with her purpose in her Reclaim experience. So I'm inviting you to join me for Reclaim. We'll start in June. So you have a few weeks to get in contact with me. Not everyone has the qualifications of the kind of person I'm looking to work with. So if you are curious about that and you want to reclaim territory in your relationship with yourself, I encourage you to reach out to me. Seeing if I have information here that will, nope, I don't. So you can reach out to me on, as a matter of fact, how about this? That's one way, but you can reach out to me on Facebook. You can DM me, facebook.com/Rebound Coach, or my email, dallas@thereboundcoach.com, or you can go straight to Calendly/Dallas Cohen and schedule something with me right directly from there, or just reach out. I just like to have a conversation with you to see if you're a good fit for Reclaim, and not everyone is. So let's be in contact. If you are looking to reclaim territory in your relationship with yourself and get the kind of results that this person had, if the walls are closing in around you and you would like them to fall, if you would like more clarity around what God wants for you and what you want for you, then I highly recommend your next step is going to thereboundcoach.com. You can click on store and read a little bit about the Reclaim experience. But really your next step is reaching out to me so we can have a conversation and see if you're a good fit. All right. So I am so thankful that you came and shared time with me today. I hope that you got something out of this, and I encourage you to put in the comments what helped you. You know, what was your ahas? What did you get out of this? Do you feel like you're in emotional debt or spiritual debt or moral debt? You know, having a moral debt to yourself, owing yourself action. Okay. And what action will you be taking? All right. Thank you so much. Again, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you sharing your time. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, guys, choose life.